plans to bring down costs on ordinary families. And that's why the results are not finished either. And Biden on Tuesday touted his administration's efforts to the nation's recovery from the crisis. He also mentioned some actions are taken, and others he's considering, to fight inflation, but Biden has previously said that there is not much more he's able to do that will have a noticeable effect. He's also mentioned some actions taken right now, and others he's considering, to fight inflation, but Biden has previously said that there is not much more he's able to do that will have a noticeable effect. The White House has been trying for months to demonstrate its commitment to dampening inflation and bringing down soaring prices that are placing stress on American families. So combined with a dropping stock market and intense warnings from high-powered CEOs, the economy has become the White House's top political problem and priority. But the president's spokesperson argues that Americans will be able to weather the economic storm thanks to the actions that Biden took in office. And now the Minnesota's frontline workers are able to pay and apply for their share of $500 million in hero pay. Employees, however, must take certain steps to comply with notification requirements. The Minnesota governor signed the Frontline Worker Pay Law, authorizing state-funded bonus and payments to various frontline workers, including assisted living employees. Employers must post a notice about the program at each work site and provide papers on how to get it, and provide papers on how to receive the check.
Do that job better to make sure the Western drought does not significantly get worse, but we can improve.
First, thank you to this committee for the investment of $8.3 billion. For just investment in storage, it's roughly equivalent in the last 18 months of this administration that the previous administration invested. So we invested $461 million in storage alone. So resources are always of assistance, but really it's having this dialogue.
How quick is it going to be put out? How quick will that money be invested?
Some of those we've already put out.
And given people in this nation, working people, middle-class folks, people who built the country, a fighting chance. That's what the essence of it is. And I'm going to have a lot more to say about that tonight and the next couple of days and be able to take your questions. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is sign this bill and make the presentation tonight. And then there's going to be plenty of opportunities. We're going to be on the road, not only talking about.
So now many politicians are just wanting to change that. Folks, as one of the more popular proposals, it would apply Social Security payroll tax to pretty much all earnings above $400,000. That would create a donut hole that slowly closes over time. Since the maximum taxable earnings limit is adjusted each year to account for changes in general wage levels, lawmakers have already even proposed increasing the tax rate to 6.5%. What this means is that there will be a 13% tax, and now they said this would eliminate around 16% of the $20 trillion shortfall. At this month, Federal Reserve staff economists also briefed policymakers that the changes of a recession is also rising by 50%. The forecast was the first such warning that a recession will happen since the central bank began raising the rates again back in March. Now, during this time, economists say that the possibility that persistent reduction in inflation could require a greater than assumed amount of tightening in financial conditions is just seen as a risk. The influential staff at the Fed's Board of Governors in Washington plays a big important role in the monetary policymaking process through briefings on economic conditions and forecasts. During a press conference, Jerome Powell told reporters that he thought no one, whether there was going to be a recession or not, sees how bad the recession would be. No one even knows how bad this could get. But a recent batch of inflation reports suggests that a piece of runaway price is that increases will finally start to increase again. The job market remains relatively healthy, but that doesn't mean anything because we all know that President Biden has to do more and send out stimulus payments.
Today, and I thank the chairman of the full committee, Chairman Peter DeFazio of the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, for his.
Some breaking news: dozens of House Democrats have actually been calling on caucus leadership to extend the enhanced child tax credit in the lame duck session. It comes as lawmakers look to tick off more legislative priorities in the final weeks of the passing bills. And members of the new Democratic coalition, it's the largest Democratic coalition in the House, wrote a letter to Nancy Pelosi. They said that they want more stimulus payments out. They wrote a letter to Nancy Pelosi, Senator Clyburn, and Bernie Sanders. The letter wrote that lawmakers want and demand prioritizing the stimulus checks and child tax credit in a end-of-year package before 2023. Congress also said they expanded child tax credit in the American Rescue Plan, a $1.9 trillion relief bill that President Biden signed just weeks into his presidency is about to happen. The measure increased the child tax credit from $2,000 to $3,600 and $3,000 for other children under 18. Congress did manage to include a form of paid family leave in the CARES Act, and it's the first legislative response to the crisis. But with the Senate narrowly leading the Republicans this time, a lack of GOP willingness to renew these benefits meant that paid family leave expired at the end of the year. The last payment with the enhanced provision was sent on December. And now, according to a study, nearly 4 million people fell into poverty in January after this provision expired. So the group of lawmakers also said that the enhanced child tax credit lifted millions of people out of poverty, giving parents the flexibility to return to work and provided families a stronger opportunity to exceed. Democrats believe that we must extend the enhanced child tax credit so families and children have the resources and opportunities to flourish. The lawmakers are also pushing for Congress to advance the research and development tax credit fix, which the new Democratic coalition said is essential to investing in American competitiveness. So the research and development, everybody, said that some domestic expenses have because of companies. A measure in the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, crafted by Republicans, enacted a provision that requires companies to seek deductions under a tax credit over 5 years, rather than after the first year. According to Democrats, the research and development tax credit has helped foster the competitiveness and innovation of U.S. economy and American businesses. So folks, now don't forget about this. If you did not receive a monthly child tax credit check and have not filed your taxes, you must do so to receive the extra money. Taxpayers can actually claim the benefit and payment by filing a tax return. However, this year's tax season ended very, very early, so you may be able to still get the money if you claim the credit by filing a return after those dates. However, since both deadlines have passed, the amount of money you're eligible for would be reduced by penalties, and refunds would be less than expected. So hopefully, everybody, we see President Biden take up and send out a stimulus payment before the end of the year.
Multiple reports last month indicated 50 Democratic members of the House and up to 21 Democrats in the Senate signed letters urging President Joe Biden to send recurring payments to Americans as long as the pandemic continues. So is a fourth stimulus check from Congress really confirmed?
Millions of dollars in new stimulus checks are set to be deposited this year. Many of the low income will qualify for additional financial relief. All thanks to a new bill, but on top of this, and lawmakers have proposed that making the next round of stimulus checks, everybody, has to be more targeted. It means that people will be getting a couple more stimulus payments in the couple next days. So let's see if President Biden knows what he can do and send out a fourth stimulus check, because everyone knows that it is very much necessary to do this. If he doesn't do this fast, well then, things will not be looking good for the American people, because we all know stimulus payments are necessary. First of all, on January 3rd, the new Congress was already created. Both newly elected Congress members and incumbents took their oaths of office, with Republicans taking control of the House and Representatives, while Democrats retain control of the Senate, with the new Congress now in place. But the big question was, on many people's mind, is whether stimulus checks are on the table in this upcoming legislative session. Stimulus checks have received bipartisan support, but Democrats and Republicans voted together to provide the initial direct payments during the heart of the crisis. The most recent crisis relief legislation provided payments of up to $3,600 per child under age 6 to the eligible parents, and also $3,000 per child